One of my absolute favourite things about growing food is trying new things every single year and seeing what happens. So, because I'm trying so many new things, I thought I could turn it into a fun, very biased competition. Hughes Plant of the Year 2024. I'm going to be sharing 3 runners-up and then revealing the winner of the new things that I've been growing, either new in terms of properly giving them a try or new because I've never grown them before. And I want to share them with you to inspire you to try out new things, maybe try out these things, but also to think, what is it that has maybe stood out to you this year? You can put it in the comments section and it could become a wonderful resource. And so first, like any competition, we're going to look at the runners-up or the highly commended. And people might be like, there is no winner, every plant's a winner. Of course every plant is a winner, but there's one winner of the winners. I'm delighted to present the first runner-up, which is this magnificent thing. Well, it's seen better days, but the structure is lovely. This is Korean mint, or the remnants of Korean mint. It's herbaceous, hardy, perennial. It is a stunning herb. I bought seeds from Incredible Vegetables. They're also selling the plants at the moment. And Korean mint has stood out. Sam has loved it. I've loved it. It's been absolutely incredible in terms of the flowers this year. Like, as a pollinator magnet, this is absolutely one of the best plants I have so far come across for pollinators. But not just that, the smell of the leaves, the aroma is absolutely stunning. The fragrance is incredible and it comes back year on year. It's so easy to grow. This is something that I grew from seed at the start of this year and it turns into a big plant that just looks stunning. The colour is great. I couldn't recommend this enough. Now the second runner-up is this plant in front of me here. This is autumn raspberries. We planted some autumn raspberries a couple of years ago when we were first starting to develop the site, and they turned out really, really nice. And I was like, you know what? I want more. So in March, all of these were planted, and the amazing thing about these autumn raspberries is that they have had a bumper crop, even though they were planted in March of this year as canes or as whips. The lovely thing about autumn raspberries is that once they do die down, you just cut them at the base and they come back again year on year. There were more raspberries here than we could deal with, which is very exciting because it means that I can prepare. I had friends coming over saying, hey, can I come and pick some more raspberries? Of course. Autumn raspberries are also another highlight for me because when I'm looking at how can I create nice productive systems, I want them to have plants that kind of look after themselves. Some raspberries need a lot of help with support, you know, not moral support, more so support to stand up and not flop. However, autumn raspberries can really hold their own and that makes them really appealing to grow. So if you do have a space at the end of your garden, grow some autumn raspberries, they're amazing. And the final runner-up is a tree. This is Apricot rhubarda that I got from Frank P. Matthews and planted last winter here in the polytunnel, and it was just incredible. To have apricots in the first season was something I was not expecting, and they were so tasty. It's like when you have that first homegrown tomato, you're just like, your mind is blown, and any other tomato that you have is a bitter disappointment because it's just not homegrown. You realise they're 2 very different categories. I would say it's the same about the apricot. The depth of flavour was incredible, and the apricots, actually, wait there. And the apricots made it onto the front cover of Sam's book, The Fermentation Kitchen. The apricots were growing on this tree, so a very special, worthy contender, but not quite the winner. The winner is a crop that you can treat as an annual, but it had no slug issues whatsoever, which was quite significant this year. So that stood out to begin with. Secondly, it is a perennial plant, it's a perennial crop, and it is really resistant to any forms of pests or disease. It is quite aggressive in its growth. It will take over, but it is hugely productive. And I'm holding the tubers, the edible tubers of that plant. It's Mashua, which is also known as perennial nasturtium. Now Mashua comes from the Andes. It's especially popular in Peru and Bolivia. And it is a crop where you can practically eat every single part of the plant. Now this is much better than the normal nasturtium that we grow in our gardens for quite a few reasons. Firstly, the leaves, they just look nicer. Sometimes nasturtium can just feel a little bit out of place and the leaves are maybe a bit too big. This is a lot more delicate, so the leaves are more beautiful. The flowers, you have to wait a little bit more, but the beautiful orange flowers of Mashua is absolutely incredible. Now there are so many benefits to growing it. In terms of growth, it can be 2 to 4 meters in height. Now, unlike normal nasturtiums, which tend to have more of a trailing or spreading way of growing, if you give Mashua a stick, it will grow up it. It was quite amazing actually. It's grown up plants, it's grown up fences, it's grown down things. So not only does it cascade, it also grows up. So if you're wanting to create some vertical interest in your garden and create trellises, then Mashua is an absolute must. The leaves are very tasty, but the main crop, the main edible crop, and this is what this video is focusing on, the edible part, is the tuber. So the tuber is a little bit like oca, but bigger, and it has kind of a very spicy, almost wasabi-like flavour raw, if you want to eat it raw. But when you roast it, the first time I tried this was I roasted it for about 30 minutes with a bit of olive oil and salt, and I was blown away by the flavour. So if you kind of cut it in half, you have a bit of crispiness on the outside. The inside is very creamy, it's very sweet, it's a kind of a really nice nutty texture, but it holds up a lot better than oca when it comes to cooking. And the flavours can vary depending, like the more you cook it, the more kind of caramelised it becomes. And it's incredible. So the main thing that I want to tell you about Mashua is that it is so productive. It is a plant that I would say perhaps rivals potatoes in terms of productivity, not to mention that you can eat all of the foliage of the plant as well, should you wish. You dig it up and then you just peel it back and it reveals a carpet of tubers. It is one of the most wonderful experiences that I've had this year in the garden. It's just peeling it back and just these tubers appearing in absolute abundance.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness.
So Mashua is an absolute must. It's going to be one of my staples moving forward. It doesn't need the most fertile of soils. It will still work well in poorer soils. It won't get any issues with weeds once it gets going. It is very competitive. But like potatoes, it is frost tender. So you do just need to be careful at the start of the season and at the end of the season about frost protection. Now, where do you get Mashua tubers from? At the moment, it's mainly eBay. I will be making these available in the new year, so stay tuned for that. But it is such a wonderful crop to try out. And so let me know what you think are maybe your winners of the year of new things that you've tried in terms of perennials. And I will soon reveal some of the new things that I'm going to be trying out next year and why.